Hello everybody, this is Evan with Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today I'm going to be bringing you a review of Judge Dredd. This is the I Am the Law starter set by Warlord Games. So I'm going to take you through some of the stuff that comes into it, a little more in depth than the unboxing video. Talk to you a little bit about the game itself, the contents, show some of the miniatures off. As you've seen on our channel, I've done a couple painting videos for them, so if you want to see a little more in-depth with the miniatures, definitely check those out. But let's open up the box here and talk about the contents and a little bit about the rules. Alright, so down here onto the table, we're going to talk about my thoughts on the Judge Dredd I'm the Law starter set here by Warlord Games. So, the big thing that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the rulebook itself, and then we'll talk about some of the extra stuff in here. So there's a lot of miniatures that comes with this guy. And here I got them all painted up, as you can see. I've done a couple painting videos here onto the channel, so you can check out, particularly this one here. And 2 judges. But we're going to talk about the rulebook here. So the rulebook looks pretty intimidating just because it's got all this stuff. But one of the cool things is you're going to have a lot of pages like this that are just art or talking about the lore and the backstory and everything going on with Mega City 1 and this timeline. You can see, like I said, lots of art, lots of cool stuff in this. And it's really cool that you can use the stuff. They painted miniatures in there. You can use them as a reference. You see, I kind of based mine off of the pictures that they did. Now, the question is, if we look at the contents here, and see there's a lot of information in there, but the important part of the book starts here on page 8. This is the core rules. And it only goes to right here. 38 starts a new page. So 37 is the last of the rules. So you're looking at 29 pages there. And as you can see, a lot of the pictures and whatnot in there. There's a vehicle rule section like right here, so you can cut a couple pages out even into the rules. So 29 pages, lose a couple more pages out of that, you're looking 20 pages of rules at most for you to figure out. And really, the big thing here is going to be the base game mechanics here, which is going to talk about the dice. So this comes with the dice pack here. 3 sides to the die. You got hit, armor, and special. All your rolls are based off of needing one of these. Now what's really cool as I go into it, we're going to come back to this page here in a minute. But as you go into the rules and you're going to talk about going for broke, you're going to see this symbol right here with that. If we flip a little bit more here, talk about the range action, so attacking like shooting and whatnot. You can see how they reference the different dice faces in that rule. So it's a quick reference if you need to quickly know what do I need to roll in order to do that. Bam, right here. These are the faces that you need. It's very nice that they were able to do that for that. So gunfighting skill, like everything. If you need a certain role, it is going to tell you right there with the picture, what do I need? As opposed to some of the other Warlord games that they have where you're hitting target numbers or whatnot. The game uses these stats right here, and they give you cards. So if you're using a senior street judge, here's this. So right there, your movement, shooting, shooting. So movement gives you how far you can move in a move action. Now, whenever you take an action with a unit, you get 2 actions. So there's a quick reference guide that comes with the game right here, and it breaks down a lot of the actions you can take. But movement, that tells you how far you move in a single move. Now all these rest of them, shoot, fight, evade, all that good stuff right here, all the way down to cool. Notoriety is something different. We'll talk about that here in a bit. But all these, instead of target numbers like most Warlord games, like I said, these are just telling you how many die you're going to be rolling. So it's a kind of a spin on those style games. And then since there's only 3 faces on the die, it's going to tell you what you need to roll that. You can just quickly figure out, all right, so I'm shooting, the most basic thing without any additional anythings. I'm rolling 4 die. I can flip, see, oh, I need this die fay, roll the 4 die, and then I can quickly figure out how many hits, what I'm doing with it. There's a stat here for everything. Like I said, shoot, you can see right here, referencing down. You got fight, evade, resist, and cool. Last one's notoriety. So those are your point value. So you can play this game as a point buy. And right there will give you your point value. Point value actually also matters for one other thing. So the higher the point value, the higher the stats are going to be, obviously. So when you have the higher stats, you're going to have a higher cool. Cool represents almost like a level of ability for the figures, which for activating in this game is going to be a chit pull, which is very similar to how like bolt action, which Warlord does. You're going to put all the chits for each unit. Each unit is going to get one, and it's going to go into a bag, and then you're going to pull them out one at a time, and then you get to pick a unit to go. You place a chit next to that unit after it activates, or that figure, and they can't activate again. There's an exception to that. So as you see, the notoriety is going to be higher versus, let's see, we're going to pull these block gang. You can see like the gang punks are only worth 3, or the gang heavies are only worth 5. So if you have a 25-point game, and you take the senior street judge, you're going to have 5 gang heavies versus 1 senior street judge. They have more abilities, but games like this tend to bog down some for one person versus the other if they have more activations. And typically, just with the number of die that's going to be rolling, the people that have the more activations tend to win because they're going to get more hits, more things are going to happen because they're just rolling the sheer number of die. So to compensate for that, any unit that has a cool value of 4 or more are going to get this special chit right here. Has a star on it. Regular ones, they don't. I'll show you. Like that. Now, just as reference, here's a sprue that came with it that's unclipped here, but you have you have the chits right here, and then basically any other references are all together on this. You get that. You get a gold one and you get 2 blue ones. But so back to the star chit. So the star chit works is if you pull that, you can use it on any of your units, and then you roll your cool. So pull back this veteran street judge right here. So he would roll 4 die. If he gets any of the 2000 AD symbol, that chit actually goes back into the bag. So it's a way for bigger units to activate more than once to compensate for, well, there's 5, it's 5 to 1, or something along those lines, or it's heavily skewed one way versus the other. So I really, really like that. The rulebook here is laid out really nicely, where the marker is talking about firing arcs, churning facings, laid out exactly what your stats are. And then if you're looking at weapons, this is how you would figure out the weapons right there. Close combat, Weapons themselves, there's the whole armory section in here. So, like I just pulled all sorts of different things. So you can arm you guys up, stump guns. This is exactly what they're doing. You can reference them real quick and get more lore, more pictures. Now the game churn, like I said, action chip, star chips. You're going to draw them, and then you're going to talk about your actions. Here's the section for the star chips. So it's called going for broke. You can theoretically keep on going over and over again. Now the downside is if you do fail, you're going to place that chit. It's going to be down, and they're also going to be pinned for that round. So pinned has got its own section in here for you. And then you keep on going until you get to the end of the game, which is usually going to be scenario specific. Games like this are generally scenario specific. So talking more about the actions here, and then in description of what these actions actually are. If you played these styles of games, most of them will be very familiar to you. Here, the quick reference, like I said, it's got pretty much everything in the very short description of there. What's really nice, it has the conditions also that you're going to usually run across and following the game turn. So this is on the back of On the Mean Streets of Sector 43, which is a three scenario rule book. Well, not rule book, but scenario book. So you got 3 scenarios that come with that, and actually in the back of here you have multiple scenarios too. I think it's 6. So you're going to have 9 scenarios total with this game. But again, back to the rule book. It's just all different actions there. How to work your way through close combat. And then, like I said, you got mounted and vehicle. Talking about the different terrains, blocking terrain, difficult terrain, open terrain. Again, a lot of this is very familiar if you played any kind of style of these games. But again, if there's something that's happening, you need a roll, it's going to tell you exactly what you need to do. There's going to be stuff if you're falling, doors and windows, if you're going to jump between windows, if you need to pick a lock for a stealth scenario. Then you're into the armory. And then, like I said, you got the armory section. Then it's going to talk about the denizens of Mega City 1. So if you're going to be building different judges, like Judge Anderson is a side judge, so if you want to build something like that. They also have med judges, tech judges. Want to do that? They have the very particular judges from the comics. So if you want to play Dredd, here you go. Here's Dredd statistics. You can play as Dredd. Judge Anderson. Judge Gearhart. So you got all of these. If you're really into the comic books and you want to play as Judge Death from the alternate world, it's right there. So you have all this stuff. You also have the average citizens. You can go into different block gangs. So city defense. Here's the fatties. Constructs. So there's a lot of options in them. That's why this rule book is so big, because there's so much in here. And then you're into the scenarios. Here at the very end, talk about campaign section at the very end here. And then there's cards that come with the game. This is going to lay out the cards right here. So if you want to see cards, index, which is really nice. So the rulebook is laid out excellent. Love it. Does a great job. So you're going to have these quick reference cards, as I showed you a couple of times here. What's nice too is if you're going to play, say, I'm going to be using this Veteran Street Judge, flip it over onto the back. See this page? They've got special rules. Here's the weapons that they use. All the information right there. Bam. And it's the same way for all the judges. So laid out, you don't have to go searching. Usually if you're going to be on the judge's side, you're only going to have 1 or 2 figures. Block gangs, same thing. Special rules. Lieutenant, right there. You got some options to pick on their weapons, so you'll have to do a little referencing and writing. Special rules right there. Block gang, you can see right here. Now you can see weapon equipment. You'll get some options right there. So one thing that's really cool is based on the scenarios that you're going to be doing, you're going to be able to use cards in here. So these cards represent different things, like the armory cards. So if you watched the newer Judge Dredd or the old Judge Dredd, either one, you know that the gun that the judges use has different weapon or different ammunition options. So this is to represent that, and it's going to tell you when you can use it. So if I'm using a lawgiver, so if I'm a judge and I have my lawgiver, I'm using aimfire, I can use ricochet, and exactly what it does. High X, same thing. I can use as a throw or as a special round. High explosive, there's the rules. So there's all sorts of different things in here, basically to represent the different things that you ran across in the Dredd world. So the big meg cards, so these are just different things that your characters are or can do, and you can activate these. Usually when you get these, you have say like 3 of them, and they're off to the side. You pick when you're going to use one, and you pick a character that has it. And again, it's going to tell you right there what it does. And they're laid out really, really well. So if there is has to be done at a certain time, it's going to give you that right down there. But most of these are pretty much just like a use it. Now, when you use it on a figure, it stays with that figure until that figure is dead. Again, you got 3 scenarios that come in there. And the last couple things I'm going to talk about too in here is this comes with a giant mat. It's 3x3, double-sided, so it's more than enough for you to play any scenarios that you want. You're also going to get 2 cardboard cutouts, like full sheets, and it's going to have terrain in it. Not a whole lot, but enough that you can play a game or a couple scenarios with, and everything is double-sided in there. So, but that's pretty much everything in here. I'm really, really excited to play more games of Dredd. I really, really like it a lot. But we'll take you up from the table, and I'm going to give you my final thoughts. So my final thoughts here coming back up, going through all the stuff with this. As with most Warlord games, the miniatures are really awesome. Really, really love those. The rules are pretty well written, pretty easily to follow. The rulebook can look intimidating, as I mentioned a couple times in there, but you really only need that 20 pages to figure it out. And then once you kind of read through that, and you can see the pictures to what you need on the dice, you're not going to have to reference it too much. One thing I didn't mention in there, the shooting, once it seems it's a little more complicated the first time or two that you go through it. Once you get through it, because there's 13 steps that you have to follow through, but once you do that a couple times, you've got it. The quick reference on the back of the extra scenario definitely helps out. I wish it was a little more expanded, but I'm sure there's probably extra content out there, either third party or through Warlord, that maybe have a little better quick reference guide. But other than that, everything in the box is great quality. Everything you need to start, definitely. You can run through the 3 scenarios that come separate, and you can start running through the scenarios in the back of the book. Now, the only issue that I found with this is when you're running the scenarios in the back of the book, they don't really align to the player mat that you get. So you're going to have to do a little bit of work on your end, but that's easily fixed with either you do a little extra
make some stuff and do something like that, or you just kind of modify the scenario a little bit and you can make it work. But overall, I'm super excited. I really enjoy the Dredd IP. Really cool IP. And to see something like this that really captures the old comic book, fantastic. And if you're not into comic books, but you're kind of interested in this, then watch the newer Judge Dredd, not the one with Sylvester Stallone. Watch the newer one to get the idea of the world in the game. Watch that one first, and then watch the Sylvester Stallone one to see that one's more aligned to like coloring and stuff like that. That's more into the 2000 AD comic book. So that would be my suggestion if you're going to kind of go that way if you just want to watch the movie. But otherwise, definitely read the comics. They're fantastic. But hopefully we can bring you some more miniature content here soon. Definitely hit that subscribe button, like button, hit the little bell to get notifications whenever we drop new videos for you, so you're the first ones to see them, so you can watch them. Throw in the comments down below if you're a fan of Dredd and some of the stuff that you would love to see with this, or if you played it and some of the cool things that you've done in the game. But until later, this is Evan with Tabletop Gaming Guild. Have a good day.